Ladies and gentlemen, today, we take a deep look at a critical turning point in the war in Ukraine. As the United States, once seen as Ukraine's ultimate shield, begins to pull back. And Europe is left to answer a crucial question: can it step up and take America's place? From the early days of the conflict, the United States has been the leading force behind Ukraine's survival. Sending weapons, training troops, and funneling billions in aid. But that support is now beginning to fade. The $60 billion aid package passed by Congress in early 2024? It's almost entirely spent, and the next round of aid? Still stuck in political gridlock. Thanks to deep divisions between Republicans and Democrats, and a growing sense of Ukraine fatigue among the American public. More importantly, the US is pivoting its global strategy. Now focusing on hotspots like the Israel-Iran conflict, the Taiwan Strait, and the South China Sea. That means Ukraine is no longer Washington's top priority. And if Donald Trump returns to the White House in 2025? Ukraine may face a complete cutoff. He's repeatedly said he could end the war in 24 hours, a clear hint that he favors a direct deal with Russia over continued US military aid. Meanwhile, Russia is ramping up its offensive. Waves of drone strikes, cruise missiles, and smart bombs are hammering Ukraine's cities and front lines. From Kharkiv to Donetsk, the pressure is constant and intense. Ukraine is facing critical shortages: artillery shells, armored vehicles, air defense systems. And Russia is precisely targeting Ukraine's logistics, radars, and supply depots, leaving defense lines thin and vulnerable. To make things worse, Ukraine is struggling to recruit troops. A new draft law has been passed, but it's controversial and highlights the growing manpower crisis. In this moment of vulnerability, Ukraine is turning to Europe for help. President Zelensky is traveling from Berlin to Paris, urging nations to send more tanks, long-range missiles, anti-drone radars, and F-16 fighter jets. Countries like France, Poland, and the Baltics are stepping up. France has even proposed sending military advisors to Ukraine. A bold and controversial move. But not all of Europe is on board. Nations like Hungary and Slovakia are pushing back, opposing any deeper military involvement. Europe has the economic power, no question. But it lacks military coordination and the kind of speed this moment demands. New defense production plans are just getting started, but they're nowhere near fast enough to replace America's supply chain. There are three major scenarios we may face. First, Russia gains tactical momentum. If Ukraine doesn't get the weapons and troops it needs, cities like Kharkiv could fall, potentially collapsing Ukraine's entire eastern defense line. Second, Western trust starts to erode. If the West fails to act, frontline NATO countries like Poland and Estonia may feel abandoned and start to question the credibility of collective defense. And third, the worst case, Ukraine is forced into peace talks from a position of weakness. That would likely mean ceding territory to Russia, and it would set a dangerous precedent for the rest of the world. Friends, the war in Ukraine is entering a critical phase. With American support faltering, Ukraine is staring down the barrel of overwhelming Russian force. Europe is now being called to act. But does it have the will, the unity, and the resources to be the shield Ukraine needs? This war is no longer just Ukraine's fight. It's a defining moment for the West. A test of unity, of resolve, and whether the free world still stands together. When democracy is under fire,